Why doesn't God talk to us when we talk to him? How about that?
Well, I talk to dead people, but they never talk back. Just people that I knew in my life, I operate out, and I feel like I can talk to them and imagine what they say. And I think that's what God would be like. But I'm assuming. I don't think there is a God. So that's why I don't think God talks to us. But you can imagine it. I mean, I can make entities up and have a pretty free-flowing conversation. It's quite possible. It's not that hard to do.
In my experience, it does talk back.
And what is the communication? Is it hearing words? Is it like in the head, but not hearing sound, or what?
Yeah. In my case, has come through visualization, and I wouldn't say words, because the thing is, like, the communication is kind of like emotionally.
But again, why does it have to be that difficult? That just seems very peculiar to me.
Yeah.
That we have,
But we also have a voice in our heads, and a lot of people confuse the voice in our head as God. Or there's even a third voice, which is actually the watcher of the voice in our head. So once we have an awareness or a definition or consciousness of the voices in our head, then some people, that interpretation is you ask a question and then the answer comes into your head. So then people say, oh, that's God, or I was told by God to do these things. And I think what we haven't been able to do is distinguish we all have it. We all have that voice, but we also have, like I said, the third entity, which is that we can actually see and watch the conversation between ourselves and the voice. So that's...
Wait a second. What is this voice? I mean, we've got conscious and we've got subconscious. So there's a third thing that you're saying?
Yeah, there's a third thing called the one. It's really the one. If I said to you, and you said in your head, what's 2 plus 2, and in your head you say 4, then something observed the question, which was 2 plus 2, and something else observed the answer 4. So it's a third voice.
I don't see the distinction. To me, that just seems like my conscious part of my brain.
We're missing out the collective consciousness.
Go ahead, Lanny. You had something.
Yeah, no, Miss Bliss, I wanted to ask you a question. Are you referring to the Marvels, the Watcher?
I've never called it anything. I mean, specifically, no. I mean,
or
not
calling to just something you
It's
hear.
just a word. It's just a word that I came up with. And
you've never seen the show The Watcher?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Thank you for the follows.
Are any of you guys familiar with the term noosphere?
No, I'm not.
I'm not.
Anybody else?
The idea of the noosphere is that as there's like a stratosphere, there's many layers of this ethereal part of the planet, right? There's one called the noosphere that is supposedly be something kind of like of a collective consciousness where all the experience of every human that has ever existed are like stored, right? So we are like a one single species, all of us, right? So you can somehow tap into this realm and get this like access to it. I always found it a highly interesting concept,
There's no evidence for something like that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that there's evidence, but
a thing like that, but I've never heard of that.
That could be like another observer, right? Because it's like there's us as individual, right? And there's this aspect of like, what about us as a species?
The thing that you're talking about.
Let's see what's getting me here, Dakota, because you're doing a lot of speculating here, and I don't understand why you take any of these ideas, as interesting as they may be, into something which you think is. I
must clarify that I'm an artist, so that's kind of what I do. I just,
that's true. You have an artist brain. Yeah, I can hear that.
They're exciting ideas, but there's no proof.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I have proof of anything. Like I said from the beginning, I live empirically. All I have is like my experience, but I'm just sharing like something I read, right? But because Ms. Bliss mentioned like another like observer, right? And that came to mind right away to me. It's like, well, it could be like this aspect of that we have conscious, like a communal conscious as a species that is like aware of us now at this moment, every time and all the possible times, it's like it could be somewhere, like I'm not saying that I have any proof, but to me it sounds like it should exist.
Nobody has any proof, and it could be.
Yeah, that's kind of
it could be neurons firing in our heads. I mean, that's what it is, right? Neurons firing. It's just when we say, why doesn't God talk to us? We're already hearing voices in our head. Why not God's voice is the question then. Same
Well,
The
the
same.
question is,
Well, you have to be able.
because I haven't seen any proof.
Yeah, you have to be able to distinguish. Otherwise, we have personality disorders. So,
Exactly. Which I've dealt. I've actually worked with somebody that had 7 personalities. So
wow.
yeah. So when you actually see it in real life, you see the reality of 7 personalities.
You've been through the real life movie of Split.
Sybil, was the original movie that they talked about, but I worked for a university environment, and this 30-year-old woman came in, and with her doctor, they explained her disorder, and she was actually studying to write children's books because half of her personalities were still children.
Wow. Well, that's making the best of a situation.
Yeah.
For sure.
except for the 18-year-old personalities were causing trouble in my residence hall, so I had to deal with the 18-year-old.
Wow.
Hopefully, you found the best way to work around that.
Oh yeah, we worked with her. I mean, we were a safe environment for her. She thrived. So
Good.
Welcome in, Strowski.
Hi, guys.
Edition. What's on your mind tonight, Strowski?
Basically just listening. This topic is off.
It's off or of?
It's off this universe.
Oh, okay. Well, give us a topic that's on your universe then. Anybody? I can change this.
Please explore your thoughts.
I had one earlier. How about this one?
oh wow, that's a good one.
We're dealing with that right now.
Yeah, that's why I thought of it.
Well, God is everywhere. God is even inside that tornado, so it makes sense that it will destroy the church.
Wow. Why does that make sense?
Why would he do that? Why would he do that?
Because we don't know the plans of God. God maybe needs something else instead of that church.
You think? Maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. I mean, I can think of
people-
maybe like a C's store. C's candy store would be better than a church, but God, would you think?
What is more disturbing to me is like why God has to like torture children. That's fucked up.
Well, let's watch the language for TikTok again, please.
Yeah,
Sorry.
what's
Yeah.
the language? Yeah.
So
why
you
does
you could do the
just say
childhood
TikTok,
leukemia thing
TikTok
if you want
shop,
to.
TikTok shop. You have to kind of like the
I just get highly mad about like children suffering, but
Yeah. So why
that
If-
happens.
would
So-
you believe in something like that?
Yeah. Or why would you think that that's a good being who allows things like that to happen?
Right.
Yeah,
The
well,
argument-
God would be beyond that, right? Beyond good and evil.
Well, the argument I heard the other day from a Christian was actually that the devil's in charge of the earth right now, and that with the devil in charge of the earth right now, that's why God needs, people, people to follow him, so that he doesn't have, so the devil doesn't have.
Once again, we've already just decided there's no mention of the devil in the Bible.
Well, there's an adversary, so we'll call it the adversary. So if something bad happens, the adversary gets credit for it, and if something good happens, then God gets credit for it. Is that what they're arguing? Sounds like.
That's what they're arguing. Mm-hmm.
How convenient.
I still feel like that's a reach. I feel like that's a reach.
Yeah, it is. It's a backpedal for sure.
Because in no way do they actually call him that.
Well,
I wanted to actually ask them if the 2 hurricanes were actually the rapture and we just all got left behind.
that'd be okay.
So
Well, no, apparently we haven't been. Well, yeah, people would stop fighting each other in the name of religion, at least Christianity.
that's right.
So we need more than one rapture. We need
And
one
by the
for
way,
every,
all
for
these
every
people-
cult that's out there.
Read the Bible and then say something to me. The people in your comments. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Grindhouse. You can't expect God to give you all the answers. What's the fun in that? This is being facetious.
Actually, I like that.
That
That's
could be something.
that's a pretty mean God. If God's just doing it for the fun, which it frankly is a reasonable hypothesis that God created humans just because he was bored and he needed somebody to watch and play with, like Q on Star Trek.
Makes more sense.
Have we ever considered this aspect of like God being like such a humongous thing that it's unconceivable for our mind, right? Because we're like just part of it, so we can't actually see it. But how about like inside the God that is unnameable, there's many other gods, right? So like they're like interacting with us like all sort of ways, right? That will explain why we hear so many different voices, right? And it pulls for different directions. The problem here is like how to figure out which God you want to follow, like what voices.
I love your point so much. Keep going, please.
Kodak, you are a fountain of ideas. I mean, you need to pair up yourself with a writer. You are like an ideas guy. So
Yeah.
you're just such a creative mind. I mean, seriously.
Thank you. I do try to like just do that exercise, right? Because we should all of you guys, all of us guys, we should feel free to just like delve into anything. We should not be married to our like whatever things, except if it's your empirical experience. If you lived it, go for it. But if somebody else is like telling you that this is how it is, think about it twice.
The one thing I would say, if I can, real quick, is the one God does not allow you to whatever preach upon another God. So the one true God apparently will not allow you to have another God. So I love your idea of multiple gods. I love it.
Well,
but if your belief is that there's multiple gods,
right,
then you don't believe in the one God that you said that you believe in.
well, maybe when you're saying that the God, like the only God, like only wants you to believe in the singularity.
I don't believe in him. No, I don't believe in.
No.
Any of them.
I'm not putting anything on you. I'm just like trying to like push that idea, right? It's if that God is just like jealous to have like one, it's kind of saying like you have to live your experience. Like that's what it's implying, because like I said, this God is so humongous that it really cannot be conveyed by our little mind. And of course, this God is not like directly interested in you. Maybe it's dealing with the higher gods, and those gods are actually dealing with us, you know. But he is like warning you of like you should not like follow all those guys. You got to follow yourself, and that means me, because I'm like everything, you know. Could be.
And so he is responsible for all of the atrocities that have happened.
Well, everything happens inside of it, right? Like, I don't know if it's responsible. It's just like the container, right? All the other ways, it could be responsible, some kind of demon, some devil, some like ancient god, some new god.
Would he be able to control those demons if he was the one true God?
Yeah, maybe it does interfere, like a Deus Ex Machina kind of situation, right? Like it does, like it gets pissed of like some situation and it just creates a tornado and takes you out, right?
Like, what if that God made an agreement or agreed upon a date with I don't know. You could say Satan, you could say Eve. Then you know.
Well, once again, Satan has never been mentioned in the Bible.
Well, he has been mentioned, like y'all said, adversary. There's been mentions of Satan, or whatever, but it's you're right.
Word. Never the actual word.
The word Satan is in the Bible. It might be in Hebrew, but like you said, like y'all said, an adversary, y'all can never pinpoint it to a specific person, and I agree with that. I just here actually I can pull it up.
Is the character of Satan consistent in the Bible? Does anybody know? Is the way it's described?
No, it's not consistent at all.
No,
I don't think it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So we don't even know if it's one. If it could be multiple beings or
for sure
multiple stories basically compiled.
Yeah. It could. I mean, it could be all made up, but at the end of the day, just for the sake of my argument of saying that if God, okay, so like the Bible, Genesis says that He gave authority over everything to Adam, and somehow Adam kind of agreed to eat this fruit, and I guess that was the one clause in the whole how everything works. So when he done that, maybe there was a time set. I don't know, but like I said, yeah, I don't know.
Okay, you guys. I got to intervene. I'm running out of battery. It was really cool to chat with all you guys. You're really amazing people, and sounds weird, but God bless you all. I really
Thanks,
appreciate
Jesse.
it.
We're Buddhist. Thank you.
Nothing
Yeah,
but love. It's all love.
Yes, all the
right.
gods and demons be with you, and there's
That's all.
nothing. And you enjoy your body.
I don't believe in the
Okay.
demons either. So
I don't either.
Yeah, have a good night.
All right,
Okay.
man. Yes.
Big hugs, Tommy.
I'm really curious now what type of art he does. Because next time he comes by, he's gonna have to show us something and put it on screen.
I think all we should do is just show love to everybody. No matter what you believe in, it's fine.
Yeah, as long as we're not, but only to the degree that they're not talking against other people or trying to teach falsehoods in school, right?
Yeah,
Persecuting you guys,
Yeah,
or trying to call for your heads or
What the
whatever.
fuck is going on? Like, literally, I don't understand.
You do mean that literally, Tiffany?
I do. I'm telling you right now, I don't understand what the fuck is going on.
In terms of conversation or what?
If she's
I
drunk,
don't know. Do you want to have a conversation?
yeah, she's got a little bit of slur in her voice there.
Yeah, I think we'll just kind of let her
She's
Yeah.
having a great night.
beep it off.
Yeah. It's Saturday night somewhere.
Different
Yeah.
from the time of when Noah would have supposedly lived.
Yeah, if any, they're so like minor, like even right now compared to, and this is really relative, like 100 years ago. But like on the grand scheme of things, it's not enough to show any significance for what you're saying.
Right. What I was getting at was the lifespans that the Bible talks about, about
Mythology.
hundreds of years, right?
And that never happened. It's impossible for humans to live that long. Even if the oxygen was different, we still wouldn't live that long.
Oxygen has nothing to do with, like, we know that like telomeres at the end of our chromosomes in each cell are like generally there are like 5 different theories, but that's really the main one for age that we focus on, and there's no evidence that our telomeres were different during this time.
Right. Okay. Well, how do y'all feel on DNA evidence that they can go back in time and tell where you originated from? And
yeah, all humans are members of the same species, but humans have been around for much longer than what the Bible says. Humans have been around, Homo sapiens specifically, what we are, have been around for about 200,000 years.
Yeah.
And the Bible only goes back to about 6,000 years ago. So it doesn't really, in fact, what our DNA does tell us, Robbie, our DNA tells us not only have humans been around for about 200,000 years, but we are animals and we are related to other animals, including like our closest relatives, which would be chimps and bonobos, sharing 98% of the same DNA that we have.
okay, I'll agree with you on that. Like I say, I do believe that we evolved over time, so I'm somewhat of a creationist, and I'm somewhat believing that,
You're an older creationist.
Right. In other words, I believe that we did evolve in a way, from what we started out to be. Like I say, well, let me explain this to you. I didn't go very far in school at all, but I'm self-educated. I've tried to educate myself over the years. Yeah. And, and when you talk about the Bible, I don't believe in the King James Version of the Bible.
Me neither.
Right. I believe in what they found in the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Book of Enoch, and I believe,
Me too.
Okay.
Well, I don't believe in it, but when I want to go and look at what the original manuscripts say, I do prefer the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Right.
Yeah. In fact, I actually have a copy of the Dead Sea Scrolls in my personal library.
Well, if I can ask, what do you think about the Nag Hammadi library?
What's that now?
we're having an argument
The Nag
amongst
Hammadi
ourselves.
library? Have you heard of it?
That's for the fall.
Other word you talking about? The alien Anaki or
No.
Anunnaki.
No.
It's called
It's
the
something similar
Anunnaki.
to the Dead Sea Scrolls, but it's more for, if I understand the Nag Hammadi context right, it's more about like New Testament sort of heresies and alternate scriptures and everything like that. Like, what do you think about that particular portion of religious history?
Okay, I hadn't studied that. I would like to. I like to widen my horizon on everything. Because like I say, a lot of things that I thought that was true in the Bible, I found out not to be true myself. And I believe the Romans and King James and all, when they rewrote the Bible. I feel like
They didn't necessarily rewrite the Bible. They just translated it, and sometimes those translations were just not up to stuff. But they didn't do a rewriting of the Bible. King James didn't rewrite anything. He just attempted to commission people to translate it, and they did not. They did the best they could for the time, but it wasn't good enough.
Right. I feel like they changed our Sabbath from being a Saturday, Saturday to Sunday to worship the sun god.
No. That's not why Sunday was chosen in the early Christian church. Saying that because Christians worship on Sunday, therefore they worship the sun god. Well, Jewish people worship on Saturday. That doesn't mean they worship Saturn. The early Christian community chose Sunday not because of the sun god, but because they believed at least that Jesus resurrected on Sunday. That's why. And they thought that Jesus brought about a new creation because of his resurrection. And therefore, just as the Jewish people observed the Sabbath in order to commemorate the first creation, they believed that worshiping on Sunday was a way of commemorating the new creation under Jesus. But it had nothing to do with King James or Constantine. Christians were celebrating Sunday long.
I think his phone disconnected long before Sunday.
I was quite confused on how that was working. It was like two people on one line. Oh, I see.
It was Ashlyn and Bubble Guy.
How do you do that? How did they do that? The two people.
Another guy trying to, I guess, convict him to believe something else.
I mean, how did we get two people in one square is what I'm asking at as a TikTok thing.
Probably just, I don't know. That's weird.
They were in the same room.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
Yeah, they just got engaged.
Yeah.
They have another channel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so he brought up some good points, though. They brought up good points. Yeah.
It's Bible Guy and Ashland. They always have a channel on TikTok. Their TikTok is worth watching or listening to anyway.
What's the name of it?
He is Bible Guy. I think it's The Bible Guy. And Ashland has her own channel. I think I don't know her channel, but they're always together.
The Bible Guy was the guy who said he educated himself.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He was getting schooled on the debate. I don't even think it was a debate. Yeah, he was.
So are either of you two still there on the Strowski?
Have you guys watched a lot of the deconstruction videos on TikTok? Those are pretty insightful and pretty good stuff. Because a lot of the people who I don't know what they are, but most of them are atheists and they're like experts on the Bible. So it's pretty profound.
Some of them are amazing. I always recommend Deborah Grace to people.
Deborah Grace.
Godless
I think so. Godless Engineer is a really good guy. He's another one of those people who does a ton of content.
Yeah.
Do you believe in God? Ooh, okay. That's a real basic. I do not. I am a agnostic atheist. I am not convinced by any stretch that God exists. Anybody else want to take that question?
Can I ask you a follow-up question?
Sure.
Yes. Yeah. Do you believe in the God of Espinoza?
No, not at all. The God of Espinoza is like the universe is God kind of a thing.
Right.
No, I think that's actually a sort of a bastardization of the God concept. So when people say things like that, and when they say similar stuff like, my God is love or my God is music, I think that's misleading. And when we have these online conversations, it really takes you off track.
Right.
So, no, I don't believe there's any sort of divine force in the universe, or that we're all connected like in Avatar.
It's just all random.
Physics and chemistry.
Right.
Physics and chemistry.
Well, I'll go back about 3 callers though and say it's like I'm backed up on my reading of Sean Carroll's books. So,
Well, fair point. He just came out with a new book too. John Carroll did, and I gotta start reading that one. Yeah.
every now and then I'll go back and read something. It's just like on this live right here, not tonight, but morality comes up a lot, right? So I'm actually going back and rereading my 2 books that I have on morality. One of them that I showed you tonight, to sort of make sure if I've forgotten anything,
And it's kind of interesting how they cross-reference and how well they all blend together.
Well, when it's the best information we have, that's what you'd expect, right? They expect the anthropology to jive, and I'm always looking at picking up articles.
Especially, with Dawkins, like people don't bring up what he did.
Everybody should read The Selfish Gene by Dawkins. That's fascinating.
That's a great one.
Yeah, it's kind of a foundational book of about biology.